This week on the season finale of The Real Housewives of Miami.
You're here tonight because of me. Because nobody would ever found you in that place that you lived in, okay? Nobody would ever found you there. I brought you in here. I brought you to this group. I gave you all your moments. You're a user.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be recapping the new episode of The Real Housewives of Miami, Season 7, Episode 17, which is the finale of the season. Let's get right into it. Alright, this episode felt very long, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. It is a finale. Listen, this season has been a roller coaster, which is what I expect from Miami, and this finale encapsulates that craziness that Miami brings us. So let's get right into it. So I told you all this last week. I love the fact that they filmed during the holiday season. So we begin the episode with Marysol throwing a Christmas lunch in her house. Marisol is on FaceTime with Alexia, but Alexia won't be able to make it because she had planned a happy hour get-together with the girls at her spa, and that's the only day she could do it, so I guess they hadn't talked about it enough, so it coincided on the same day. So they're both having their events. Some girls will go to Marisol's, others will go to Alexia's. At Marisol's event, Jill Zarin was there at her. That was interesting. Stephanie, Larsa, Guerdy, and Adriana go there, and there's a whole bunch of people. I love this party. They had facials and IVs, jewelry, PJs, a claw machine, and it's all Christmas themed. One thing I've noticed is that when Marisol throws parties, she usually has all these stuff to give to the girls, clothes and jewelry and things like that. Guerdy and Adriana talk, and Guerdy asks Adriana, what is going on with Julia? Why isn't she having your back anymore, especially in group settings? And Adriana says she's just into herself and what is good for her, and she no longer thinks of me, and I feel used. I feel like she used me and then discarded me. Then they have a little get-together and sit down, the girls, and have some drinks. Adriana thanks them for going to her art show. Then she says that she is very upset about what Kiki did. She says it was hurtful for her to make a joke about my age in such a mean-spirited way on my birthday. Stephanie says, well, my party is coming up and you're going to be performing, and we're going to have a special announcement for her drink for the charity that she has. So will things be okay? And Adriana's like, yes, don't worry. It's going to be only positivity. Why did I have a feeling that was not going to be the case? It's going to be the exact opposite. And I was right. So we see the other party that's happening at the same time, Alexia's beauty bar. It looks very nice. I like the fact that, again, it was decorated for the holidays. I haven't heard great things from their spa, to be honest. I hate to say that. Hopefully it improves. Kiki, Julia, and Lisa, they're the ones that went to the spa. And again, there's a bunch of other friends there too. Kiki brought her little girl. Julia tells him that in a few days she is going to have this opera event, that she wants to also join that event with the agency that helped her adopt the boy. She kind of wants to merge the two things into one event to bring awareness and things like that. Julia then asks Kiki what happened the night of the art show, because she says, I went to go look for you. I went after you. And Kiki says, oh, I got on an Amazon truck and left. She got on Amazon Prime. That's crazy. But Kiki says Adriana mentioned that I called her racist, which I never did. So that's why I just left. I do wonder why Adriana said the word racist to begin with. Like, where did that come from? I don't get it. But Kiki says that she never called her that, and she doesn't think that anybody else is that either. Peter was there too. That guy is such a bum. I'm not a fan of his. But he does talk to Alexia's best friend about Alexia and Todd's separation. And what I do agree with him is that he said that if Alexia were to get back with Todd, that wouldn't be fair to Frankie, because Todd's really hurt them. So then it is the next day, and it's the day for the event, Julia's event, where she's kind of merging the music and the foster care / adopting agency. Alexia, Marisol, and Keke were the only ones from the group that went. And Martina was there, and it was a lot of people. But those are the girls from the group that made it. And Julia thanks them for being the ones that, were able to join her. Someone asks, where are the other girls? And Julia's like, oh, well, they couldn't make it. They had some things going on. Adriana is actually rehearsing right now for her show. And I didn't like it that Kiki and Alexia start to instigate and stir the pot. Oh, well, if she cared, she'd be here. She wants you to be there for her, but she won't be here for you. I was like, okay, stop it. Y'all are stirring the pot. So Julia performs an opera song in front of everyone with another singer. And to be honest, the way they edited Julia singing, they kind of tied in the adoption story with her and Martina and the boys. It almost feels like a farewell for Julia, but I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. So that was that. It was a nice event. It was. Okay, then it is the day of Stephanie's Christmas party. This party gets an A plus. It was everything. They have fake snow, and considering that it's Miami and Christmas is always like 85 degrees, Stephanie managed to get a winter wonderland in Miami in the show bazaar, whatever the place is called. They had a Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. It was very nice. The place is huge. Kiki brought her dad. That was very nice. I lost it when Lisa was taking pictures with Santa Claus and like y'all have to see that part. It was so funny. You gotta love Lisa. Jodi came as well. And he and Larsa did say hi to each other. It wasn't weird or anything. They were just nice to each other. Really loved everything. This was really well planned and really well thought of. So eventually Kiki and Adriana talk. Kiki says, I want to apologize to you. I'm sorry about the whole cake thing. It wasn't coming from a bad place. And the reason I left your event the other night was because that whole ratchet thing came up again. So when you pulled your friend Carol and started talking about racism, I was just confused, so I just left. And Adriana's like, I accept your apology. I just want to move on as well. Kiki says, yes, and I still think you're one of the most beautiful women your age. Of course, Adriana didn't like that part, but at least they made up. But then, you guys, about 30 minutes later, Marisol and Kiki corner Adriana and basically try to shame her. Oh, Julia was so hurt that you didn't go to her event. She's so upset. And Adriana's like, well, I had 12 people who I couldn't reschedule that I needed to practice with. And also, she never told me she was going to sing at the event. And also, she asked me the night before. And Marisol, she's very manipulative. So she's like, yeah, but it was an important event. Don't you care? Don't you care that she's upset? That's your best friend, no? And Adriana's like, are y'all really going to do this at my performance? Like, F off. So it's a little bit later, and Alexia and Julia are the last ones to get there. Marisol and Kiki, the first thing they do is say to Julia, we just talked to Adriana. She dismissed us. She went off on us. She didn't care what we said about you being upset. Julia says, well, y'all want to know something? When I texted her the invite, I never heard back from her. She never replied. But then Stephanie takes the mic, tells everybody to go to the other room, and because remember, the building is huge. And it's time for the concert. And I'm telling y'all, Miami, why are they making it look like this is a J-Lo concert? And the funny thing is, I think Adriana thinks she is J-Lo, because the way she was backstage talking about, I need the stage to be clean. I was like, oh my gosh. She was 20 minutes late, but she finally makes it. She goes up, she performs Feel the Rush, which is the show's theme song, and she also performs the iconic Miami's on fire, and everybody's having a blast, dancing. She then heads to the piano to sing a song called I Love My Dog. I don't know if it's a new song, if it's in development. That was hilarious. It was something else. It was crazy. Only something you will see in Miami. And this is the only city. So after that, the girls congratulate Adriana. Everyone's saying you did great. And then Julia comes around and she says, I want to congratulate my bestie. So she pulls her aside. Julia says, I'm proud of you. Do you know that? And Adriana's like, I don't know, Julia. You've been acting really weird recently. Julia says, well, you introduced me to this group and I feel like you're punishing me for getting to know them. Why didn't you come to my event? And Adriana says, because I was rehearsing with the band. Julia says, well, why didn't you tell me? And Adriana says, because you don't respect my craft. Do you really think I'm going to leave all of this here to go hear you sing opera? You started that last year. This has been my passion and my dream for over a decade. You want to compete with me. And Julia says, are you jealous that I sing opera? And Adriana says, no, I'm not jealous, but you never told me you were going to do it in the first place. This is about you being fake. It's about you being mischievous. It's about you being a bad friend. And then Adriana decides to step out because she says, I don't want this to go bad. I don't want to throw you under the bus. But as she's walking away, Julia says, shame on you, Adriana. And Adriana says, you are toxic. The mask is off. I see you for who you are. And now I'm going to treat you like you treat me. I'm going to be your friend and me too. Julia says, do you really want to do this? And Adriana says, did you check on me? Did you care about my band and what I was doing? Julia says, have you checked on my children? And Adriana says, am I their godmother? You used me to get into this group. You don't need me anymore, so go with your friends. Adriana says to Julia, one of the things I thought was funny was in her confessional, Adriana says, Julia doesn't know what she wants or who she even is. She likes to go from shiny object to shiny object. Why do you think she's been engaged 9 times and finally landed a champion player? Adriana then says, to her, you're here because of me. I brought you into this group. You're a user. No one would have ever found you in that shitty place you were in. That was kind of funny. So then in her confessional, Julia says that during their friendship, like when they were really, really good friends, Adriana was psychologically abusing her and trying to make her feel small. But anyway, Stephanie takes the mic and reveals the new cocktail that they will be serving now in the Shoma Bazaar. It's called the Keke drink, and all the proceeds will be going to Haiti. So then Keke and her dad go up, say a few words. Keke touches on why this is so important to her, a little bit about her country. Very, very nice. I still think that it was beautiful that Stephanie decided to do this. Really awesome. So they cheers, party a little bit more, take pictures, everything's going great, and then here we go again. So Keke says, Adriana, I have a question. Marisol told me that she told you to say that you said wretched instead of ratchet. I was like, why are we on this again? So Marisol's like, yes, I tried to save Adriana. So I told her that night, you should say that you said the word wretched instead of ratchet and just say that it was your accent that got in the way. I told her to do this, and in exchange, she should leave me alone for the next 2 years. But I heard you've been going around talking about me. So now I'm going to expose it. So she's talking about, you remember about 2 episodes ago, Adriana and Stephanie, they met up and they talked about Marisol. Well, sounds like Stephanie ran and told this to Larsa, and then Larsa told this to Marisol, so now Marisol's upset. Now, I will say, though, we gotta be fair, we gotta give both sides. In her confessional, Adriana, the way she explains it is that night, when the whole ratchet thing happened, she was explaining what she meant. Marisol looks up the word on her phone and says, is this the word you meant to say? And Adriana says, yes, that's what I was trying to say. To which Marisol responds with, you owe me forever. So, I mean, who's telling the truth? I don't know. I really don't know. But then Adriana says to Marisol, you're wretched. You're old and miserable. You look like you're going to a funeral. And then Marisol's like, it looks like you're going to an ice skating ring. I bursted out laughing, and I was like, Adriana, why are we back on this old thing again? Stephanie has to get in the middle of it and says, please stop. Here, I have gifts. That was the only thing that was going to be able to make them shut up. And of course they did. So they got their gifts. It was a really, really nice, it was a huge kit of makeup. And I think it was from the Anastasia, who she met with a while ago. And then we get the traditional finale cards of what the women are up to. So Adriana still hasn't spoken to Julia. Kiki is doing great with her dad, moving into a condo. That's great for her. Julia is raising her kids, and one of the daughters has met them. The other one hasn't, and she did an opera thing. Larsa is dating someone, a basketball player, of course. Such a groupie. And she has her new home, of course, her new house. She's working on. Guerdy continues therapy. Lisa has launched an AI app about divorce. I don't get it. She's gonna have to explain that at the reunion. She's still with Jodi. She's very happy. Stephanie, one of her sisters, is talking to her. The one isn't. Marisol it said she's looking for a new wedding venue. BS. And then finally, Alexia, Todd, and her have officially divorced and broken up. And that was el fin. The end of the season. Like I said, you guys, it was a great season, up and down, roller coaster. I will say, well, I don't want to, speak too soon. We still have a 3-part reunion, which I do think is going to be fire. So I will reserve my suggestions for next season once we get the 3-part reunion, because, the reunion can also play a huge role on who should or shouldn't return. So I'll just wait till that we see that, because we still got a lot of reunion ahead of us. When it comes to Julie and Adriana, I love Adriana. I do think she's deeply flawed, though. I do think she's a very insecure woman. Do I believe that perhaps she was getting on Julia during their friendship? Maybe she didn't want them. Maybe, maybe she didn't want her to be friends with Alexia and Marisol, and I get that. But then at the same time, how would you feel if you did bring a friend onto the show or into a friend group and they become besties with the people who have been coming after you? You know what I mean? So I get both sides, but I think I'm going to have to stick with Adriana. The only thing I think Adriana needs to work on is not being so reactionary, because when she gets in these moments of just being mad, she goes off the rails. Look at the finale. She was going off on Marisol, calling her old, which, it's whatever, but you can't also complain about somebody called you old, but then you're calling them as well. So she's got to control her, when she's on a tirade a little bit more. But I still love Adriana. But you guys, let me know what your thoughts were about this finale. Give me your thoughts, your opinions. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one. Bye.